Welcome on in, folks. West Palm FC, episode number 2. We got plenty to talk about on the football side of things. Lionel Messi, injured, not playing for Argentina over the international break. You guys are going to have to tell me what the hell happened with Team USA last night. Is Pochettino treating this like his retirement fund? 94th minute at the death, another loss to Panama. Another loss to Panama. Argentina and Uruguay coming up over the weekend, and Brazil played a thriller. My guy, Vinicius, getting in twice. So a ton to talk about today. I wanted to start, though, boys, with the little Messi mania and what's going on with Inter Miami. So obviously, by the way, Elias Bustamante, Damian Perez, this is West Palm FC, our new football podcast on ESPN, West Palm Play, episode number 2. Boys, first off, Messi injured. Elias, is this something we need to be worried about for Inter Miami? He's not playing for Argentina. Damian Perez and I, we did our Pink Smoke show, our weekly Inter Miami show, and he was describing it as a deep muscle injury. What's your reaction to this Messi injury? Should we be worried?
First of all, good morning, guys. Honestly, I wouldn't be worried that much. That's something Messi has been carrying, I think probably 2 years already, 2-3 years already. At the same time, it's good for us. It's good for Inter Miami because we are going to keep Messi in the house, relaxing, recovering for the next 2 games we have, which are Philadelphia again, and then LAFC in the Conca Champions.
Yep.
So I'm taking it no issues at all. If I'm Argentinian, though, I will be a little bit worried because he's not with the team, national team, but they have enough quality and depth to get win these 2 games, or at least get a point.
And Damian, to that point, I mean, Philadelphia, they're right behind Inter Miami on the table. They were hot as a stove for their first 3 games before that loss that they suffered on MLS match week 4. With all the upcoming fixtures, could you see Lionel Messi maybe even taking time off from the MLS side of things to maybe figure this out?
It's tough because, like Elias said, this is something that's been lingering.
Right.
Yeah.
So that might be the smart approach. You know, it's a long season, a lot of tournaments to play, a lot of games to play in general, and a lot of traveling as well, which also takes a toll. So just to see him take a break, I think it's great. It's a breath of fresh air. But I'm a bit worried because if you look at it from a perspective where if it's an age thing, then Inter Miami would be cautious with Luis Suarez's minutes.
Right.
And Suarez has kind of been playing every game. He's come out in a few, but for the most part, he's played most of the minutes.
Yep.
So if we look at it from that perspective, it's a bit worrying to know that this is actually an issue. It's not something that he's just getting rest. There's actually something there. There's a muscle discomfort, and hopefully it doesn't linger late into the season.
Now, boys, I heard rumors that this was a problem at Copa, right? I heard rumors that this was
Apparently
something he was dealing with at
since
Copa
PSG.
America.
Yes, Copa
Apparently
America.
it's
Yeah.
going back to the PSG
Even
days.
farther back, 2 years ago.
Even in the World Cup, you remember, I think it was a game against Croatia. He was touching his hamstring, and everybody was like, "Oh, he's gonna miss the final." But at the end, it's something that's been a recurring thing, a frequent issue with the hamstring. I remember
It's always that same location.
Right.
yeah, and I remember it's a muscle thing that becomes chronic if it's not treated properly. So it's an issue.
Now, Argentina's pretty good on the qualification side of things, correct,
they're
boys? They're basically in.
They're basically
So,
in.
to me, if this was a must-win game, I think we'd see Lionel Messi out there. Would we agree on that? If this was a game that mattered, listen, I understand that these guys love playing for their country. It's something you dream of your entire life, and especially with Messi. But, boys, if they needed this game, I think you probably would have seen Lionel Messi out.
Honestly, I think the importance of these 2 games, even though Argentina is first, these are the biggest 2 games for the country.
Right.
They are going to play against Uruguay, which is a classic down there. They're going to play against Brazil, which is one of the biggest classic in world soccer. So, honestly, I think if Messi was 100% fit, he will be right there. He will be there because those 2 games, and I think Damien can help me with this one. If you're Messi and you're 100% down, you will go to those games.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Those are the 2, like you mentioned. Those are the 2 games you don't miss.
Okay, Uruguay. It means more.
It's
It
just
means
there's
more.
a rivalry. That's
Sure.
Yeah.
It's almost to the point Ohio State, Michigan kind of thing. You don't miss
Yep.
those
You
games.
don't miss it.
And
Exactly.
to your point, Messi played 90 against Atlanta. So
Yeah, guys, I really
With the injury, though, he was touching his hamstring.
was.
And listen, you guys know better than I do with your South American heritage, but I truly think if this game if this was a must-win situation, I think you would see Messi out there. But Damian, obviously Uruguay, your country, how important is this for Uruguay? How are they doing on the qualification standpoint? And is this a game that they need?
It's important for Uruguay being that they're playing Argentina and they're at home.
Okay.
But Uruguay is also, they're second place in the table.
They're solid.
They're not in 100%, but you can it would take a catastrophe for Uruguay to get knocked out of the next World Cup.
Now, on the flip side of things, we'll get to Ecuador and Venezuela because our good buddy Elias Bustamante, Venezuelan, big Venezuelan soccer fan, we'll touch on that matchup coming up on the pitch preview. But Messi, we're calling it a muscle injury, or rather being reported a muscle injury, not going to be playing in that matchup with Argentina and Uruguay coming up this weekend. Also, worth to mention, Lautaro Martinez, the star striker for Inter Milan, and the Argentinian is not playing in that as well. A little more Inter Miami news. Baltasar Rodriguez, central midfielder coming out over from Racing, the club, the popular club in Argentina. And then, boys, something you guys brought to my attention. I've been, on the FM side of things, I've been so enthralled with the college basketball tournament. But Alan Abando, apparently getting on loan to Inter Miami, Atletico Madrid player. So this is a guy who's probably going to have a pretty good impact with Inter Miami.
And a striker, which other than Luis Suarez, we don't really have one. A true striker.
I mentioned that Fafa Pico, can play the striker position. You've seen him do it in Vancouver. I kind of still see him as a false nine, kind of Kai Havertz-esque striker. But this is certainly Alan Abando, the young, he's going to get some opportunities.
I was going to say, he's going to get some minutes.
And I don't think Atletico Madrid, Elias, would send him over to Inter Miami if he wasn't going to play consistently.
No, not at all. He's part of the group, Atletico Madrid group, just like a city group. They're part of the group. So probably is one for the future. They're 100%.
$4 million.
Yeah, he's going to get minutes here. We know Luis Suarez is playing a lot. He has issues with his knee. We have Fafa Picot, who is, yes, he can play as a striker, but you need a presence, a number 9. And maybe Obando, again, on the MLS, he's going to play. He's going to have some minutes. Maybe we're going to see Mascherano playing him along, taking Suarez out, putting him in. But 18 years old, a lot of potential. Again, as you said, Atletico Madrid group. So either way, he's going to be here. We're going to see him around. I'm excited because that's the whole point of Inter Miami, is getting those young players to obviously put this team in the map. And these guys, obviously, Ecuador in the last few years, they have been putting a lot of players out. So especially young and good players.
And for the team, Barcelona in Ecuador, a $4 million payday, that's a lot of money for that team. So great signing and smart by Atletico Madrid. I think sending him to Inter Miami is a great move.
Yeah, and I go back to what I said. They wouldn't send him over here if they didn't trust Inter Miami in the operation that's going on. And you see all the time these young players go on loan, get the experience, and I absolutely love this one. Now, Baltasar Rodriguez, he's a central midfielder. Now, Damien and I talked about him on Pink Smoke on the FM side of things, and he's more of a playmaker. He's more of a guy who's, I don't want to call him a Lionel Messi, because Messi certainly scores goals at the highest level, but he's more of a guy who's going to make the plays happen. If you look at the Mascherano in the midfield that he's been running, it's been a mixture of, obviously, Tlasco Segovia. He's the attacking mid, the cam, so-called. And then the other midfielders out there, Sergio Busquets, deep-lying playmaker, more known for his defense and his passes. And then Federico Redondo, and Yannick Bright, who I like to call box-to-box, more defense as well. Elias, I'm interested to see if Javier Mascherano is going to play Baltasar Rodriguez with Segovia. Maybe you're going to get a little bit of more of an attacking side in that midfield. The problem is it's going to be a lot of pressure on that DM in the middle of the field to hold down the pivot, right? It's going to be a lot of pressure for maybe a Sergio Busquets, who maybe doesn't have the legs anymore, and or Yannick Bright. How do you see Baltasar Rodriguez fitting in with this group?
I think obviously the answer depends on how Mascherano wants to play. And maybe, correct me if I'm wrong, he's been using 4-4-2, 4-3-3. So I do see Baltasar switching in with Segovia in times of the game, maybe because we've seen also Segovia playing on the wide outside when it's a 4-4-2, so maybe he's going to be able to do that. I think Mascherano is going to manage Segovia and Baltasar Rodriguez and moving them. I don't think he's going to be touching that much of Busquets and Bright because they are different profiles of players. So I think he's going to be more of that role of let's go and switch it on with Segovia. I don't know if you agree with me, Damian.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an interesting dynamic for sure.
100%.
Good point that you brought up, because with our left back Jordi Alba and our right back, they like to push up a lot.
Correct.
So it's very important.
There's three at the back, and there's three at the back more often than not.
Yeah.
It's very important to have those holding mids that are always going to be there to cover once our left back and right back go up on the attack. So it'll be interesting to see just how he manages that dynamic, being that we do have Segovia, and he has showed that he can play that creative role. But I think Baltasar Rodriguez is a great addition to the team, and I agree. I think he's going to be more of a creative midfielder rather than a holding midfielder.
And I like both of them, boys. I like Baltasar Rodriguez. I like Alan Abondo, and I'm looking forward to them getting in the mix on the squad. And I think the very important thing for Inter Miami now, which I think we're seeing Messi play in these games, the CONCACAF. I think it's very important for Messi and Inter Miami to win that trophy this year and to bring it home for the Herons. So Messi injury, Baltasar Rodriguez in, Alan Abondo in, international break. Messi not playing for Argentina with their big fixture against Uruguay. And we'll continue to preview those later on in the show with the pitch preview. But that was Messi Mania. I do want to get to the Around the World segment, because, Elias, we have a lot to touch on with Team USA and Brazil. My guy Vinicius. I know you boys aren't part of the Vinicius fan club like me, but Vinicius getting it twice for his club. Let's go around the world. Now, I want to be careful here because it's one game, right? But you guys kind of know my personality. I tend to overreact. I tend to, kind of lose my marbles a bit. Can we beat Panama? When I say we, I mean my country, the best country in the world, the United States of America. Why can't we beat Panama? What happens every time we play this club? And I understand, listen, like, you didn't have Balogun, you didn't have a couple of pieces last night. I'm sick of seeing Josh Sargent, all right? I got to say it. I know he plays for Norwich. I know he gives them good minutes. I'm tired of seeing Josh Sargent. Every time he's at the top and leading the line, I know we're not scoring. Every time that guy's in the lineup, I know we're not going to score. Anyway, Pochettino, is this his retirement fund, guys? My worry was that Pochettino took this job for a house in Malibu. He took this job for a house in Miami. Like, does he actually care about being Team USA's gaffer? Is this something that he cares about?
He cares about it. And remember, first of all, he doesn't live here. He lives in Spain. So he's traveling.
Perfect. He's not even here. Great. I got Damien. I got a gaffer that's not even here. He don't even want to be here.
But that doesn't even matter though, because Argentina, his coach is in Spain.
It matters. Where's he at in practices, boys? What's going on?
Look what happens. I don't think we need to go all the way to Pochettino. I think we also need to go all the way to the players, because most of them, I don't think they have that internal competition. And they need it, and they're not held accountable now.
I think that's the point we should be looking at.
Yeah.
USA is not. They're not locked in. They're not locked in.
How? How aren't they locked in after CONCACAF and getting embarrassed, Damien?
You can make an argument that that's the head coach's job, but if we look at Pochettino, he needs to make a statement with this United States team. He didn't have a good campaign with Chelsea. He didn't have a good campaign with Tottenham. So he needs a statement, and USA is a team to do it with. But at the end of the day, I mean, there was a shot of Pulisic before the game, I think right before the anthem, where they zoomed into him, and he was joking around saying that there was a light crowd tonight, and kind of gave a sarcastic laugh. So I just don't think these players are locked in, and they're out here overlooking opponents. Yeah. And when you're up against a Panama who they know they're playing USA, who's probably the best nation in the
Damien, they just knocked us out of CONCACAF, or Copa America. How don't you get up for this game? How is this a game that you want to win?
And this is no disrespect to Panama, but I don't know how you play 100 and what was it? They 90.
I mean,
minutes.
The goal came in the 94th minute from Waterman last night.
You can't score one goal, or I don't remember a clear chance that USA had in that game. No. So I mean, that's the problem.
And listen, you played a lineup.
Yep.
McKinney was in it. Adams was in it. Pulisic was in it. Tim Ream, Richards, who plays for Crystal Palace. Musa, Scaly, way up.
I don't think these players are putting on the USA jersey and they're playing locked in with like passion. That's the
now,
problem.
how important is CONCACAF Nations League in the grand scheme of things?
I think every game should be important.
Because now you're playing for a bronze medal. You know, Mexico, they beat Canada 2-0. Canada's been a pretty solid squad.
If you're USA, you got to win everything.
Yeah,
there's no excuse not to.
I mean, right now you have one of the best teams in the CONCACAF. That's for sure.
You should no. I'm all right. Maybe I'm biased. You do have the best team.
No.
And that's why I'm on Pochettino. Is he treating this like a serious gig?
No.
Is this his chance to get back to world football? If he does good with Team USA, he could get another EPL job.
That's why I think he is.
But like these performances right here, and Elias is telling me the guy's living in Spain and he's not even over here.
You know what? Like the thing with USA and soccer is like Pochettino, and I'm quoting him. He said, "I think we can dominate soccer football maybe in 10, 15 years." I agree. You have the team. You have the quality. The thing is, like, let's be honest. USA is not a soccer country. Like, I mean, what we saw yesterday, what Pulisic saw yesterday, like his reaction. What are you expecting? Right now, we are in March Madness.
Right.
No one is going to be paying attention to soccer. Now,
21,000.
Yeah.
21,000 at SoFi.
Yeah, now, that doesn't mean USA doesn't have that quality. They have that quality. They have players playing in Europe in one of the best leagues and teams in the world right now. So I don't think it's going to be Pochettino. If you want him to put him in a fraud watch, do it. It's on you. That's perfect.
I kind of am because
it's the players, man.
I asked this question to my buddies who and listen, my soccer group chat, we're all big soccer fans. We're one of the 21,000 that would have been to that game if we had the opportunity. Okay, I understand it's March Madness, and I even just told you guys, I've been locked into March Madness on the FM side, but the reality is, we're not a soccer country. I don't think it'll ever, pending us winning a World Cup and having success, I don't know if we'll ever be.
Last night does not help.
It doesn't, but I don't know if we'll ever be a soccer country.
Next year you might be.
My question when Pochettino got brought in here to my soccer group chat was, is this his retirement fund?
No.
Is he buying? Is this to buy his house in Malibu? Is he going to treat this like Tottenham? Is he going to treat this? And I know he didn't do a good job with Chelsea, and he got ran out of there by Todd Bowley and company. But is he going to treat this like Chelsea and treat this serious? I'm very worried that. And I like the hire. I liked the hire. And I know I'm contradicting myself a bit. I liked that Team USA as their federation. I like that they went the way of big time manager. Okay, but results like this don't help. And if you're Team USA, you have all the pressure in the world on you in this upcoming World Cup. And this fixture doesn't help. All right, let's get to the positives now. Team USA's got a solid squad. They're host nation. They could lose. The great news is they could lose all these games and still get into the World Cup because they're a host nation.
Yeah.
But you don't want to miss. You don't want to lose these games.
I think for USA it's very important to have that mojo. I think for them it's like you love to say theme mojo.
Theme magic mojo.
USA needs that. I don't think they could just do it just kind of dragging themselves into the World Cup. They need that. They need the momentum. And the only way to get people to pay attention and generate that hype is by winning games.
And to that point, Damian, the last two matches that mean anything, I understand they played good in their friendlies, whatever. Pochettino wasn't even the coach or on the sideline for those games. The two games you remember are the two games against Panama. Tim Weah picks up a red. You get bounced from Copa America in a disgrace and shameful fashion. And then last night, the disgraceful, shameful performance that you put on. And listen, all right, 21,000 people. You were lucky to have those people there.
I mean,
if I'm being completely honest, you were lucky to have 21,000 in the arena.
Can we put some pressure on our best player, our captain, Christian Pulisic? I mean, he had a horrible game.
Yellow card.
The goal that Panama scored came off of his turnover.
I know.
Yeah, now I'm telling you, I don't think we need to focus on Pochettino. I think we need to go to the players.
That's kind of what I'm trying to say.
Again,
if you're Pochettino and you're looking at Christian Pulisic, you're like, what's going on?
Yeah, what do you want him to do? Play for Pulisic? You want him to play for Pulisic? You can't. Like, he's there. He's giving instructions. He's setting those guys for success, and they are not
And he's playing
responding.
a position. Pulisic is playing the position that if he doesn't gel, if he doesn't work out, there's a disconnect between the midfield and that forward.
Yeah, so
you are that player that connects
100%.
both.
So I don't think it's Pochettino. I think those guys are too comfortable. They know their position is not in like any risk. They don't have any competition between inside the team. And that's what makes you not play well. Now, Pochettino, I don't think he's here for retirement. Now, he's here for you guys. He's earning a lot of money. And let's be honest, he wouldn't be here in the U.S. if he didn't have two things. One, a very good project that they presented to him.
Right.
And then you guys had already qualified to the World Cup.
So Elias, we have Pochettino's sound. So Pochettino talked after the game, and I'm looking for answers here because you're a better side than Panama. You have no business losing to Panama. It seems like with Team USA, this has been the theme, Damian. Oh, it was always about 2022 in the World Cup. All right, you fizzle out of 2022 World Cup. Oh, it was always about Copa America. Oh, now it's always about 2026. I'm sick of the looking ahead. I'm sick of it's okay, we got this coming up. No, I want to win. I want to be successful. I'm not saying win the World Cup. That's probably not realistic with some of the side, and to your guys' point, not being a soccer country. But God forbid you're one of the final 8. God forbid you make a run and be one of the final 4. Maybe I'm delusional. Maybe Team USA doesn't have the quality to do this. Maybe I think McKinney, Adams, Musa, Pulisic, Balogun, maybe I think they're better than they actually are.
But that's not even the argument. I think the question is, are they good enough to beat Panama? That was the question.
Yes.
That's it.
You should win that game 3-0. Do we agree?
Yes, 100%. 100%.
Yep.
Like, I don't think there's a question whether talent, this team is talent enough to not only beat Panama, but beat any team in the CONCACAF. They shouldn't be losing in the semifinals of, what is it? The Nations League?
Oh, yeah. They're playing for a bronze medal.
You have to win everything if you're USA.
Let's listen to Pochettino after the game.
Yes, it's true. It's true that we feel very disappointed because I think in the way that we approach the game and start the game wasn't in the right way. That is why I feel so disappointed, and we all feel disappointed. I think in the first half, I think we played too slow. So comfortable on the pitch. We didn't show aggression with the ball. And the consequence not to show aggression with the ball, I think we didn't show aggression, in a defensive. We are USA, but you cannot win with your shirt. Or you cannot win if you play here, there, or I don't know. You need to show, and you need to come here and be better and suffer and win the duels and work hard.
He called out the team. I like it. I like that. Listen, I like that answer because I think he's holding the players accountable, and I think he's calling everybody out. That was disgraceful.
You can't just win with your shirt, he said.
In a sense of what Pochettino said right there, that makes me feel a whole lot better because he said, listen, it's a disgraceful performance. We got to be better, and that's not going to cut it for me.
So you might say, like, okay, they were like his call-ups. Yes, agree. The players, he called them. I would love to see, because we saw the game, a little bit of the game, and we saw what he said. The slow, very peaceful in the field. Okay, get a guy like Diego Luna, for example, from Real Salt Lake. That guy, he wants to play. He has hunger. He's gonna change.
He's got the grit.
Yes. Why not Gio Reyna, for example? Who's gonna play?
Reyna's
my one question with the lineup is I think Musa is very good player. He's very talented, but
played a fullback last night.
I see him exactly. I see him more in that center mid role. I think he's more productive at that center mid. And I don't know if we just don't have a right back. If that's the problem.
But listen to me defending Pochettino now. I think that this will come together as he sees these guys play and he figures out what tactics he really wants to do. But that sound of Pochettino made me feel a whole lot better that this isn't just a retirement fund.
It's not him. It's the players who need to be
and maybe they were thinking about watching March Madness instead of being on the pitch. Shame on them.
Ultimately, that's the problem.
All right, boys, let's get me in a good mood because how about my guy Vinicius last night? Now, you guys think Vinicius has to leave Real Madrid. He's a cancer. He's this, he's that. How about that performance last night?
But
take that, boys. Vinicius, back on top on the world stage, baby. 99th minute goal. 99th minute goal for Vinny. And listen, I know these guys love playing for their country, and I know I think this game shows us, guys. In Colombia, great side. We agree? Yeah. Colombia, good side, a lot of quality. I think a game like this proves that Vinicius is still one of the top players in the entire world.
I think that the thing that's frustrating about Vinicius, being a soccer player myself, he's just a fun player to watch. You love watching Vinicius. You love rooting for Vinicius. But the thing that just you don't understand is how he connects himself with all the extracurricular. He associates himself with all the extracurricular. God. And I'm not saying
you're not wrong on that.
I'm not saying people aren't extremely ignorant towards him, because that does happen.
And how about this? All right, I'm looking. So obviously, me being a huge Team USA side fan, being a loyal American. Boys, listen to this Brazil side. Vinicius, João Pedro, Rafinha, Guimarães, Rodrigo, Gabriel, Marquinhos, Alisson. Wow. Can I get...
Luxury of riches, for sure.
Can I just take Guimarães? Listen, I'll settle for Guimarães on Team USA. What a loaded side. What a loaded side. I always say, and I understand that Argentina has great side. And Damien, I know you're very passionate about Uruguay. But that Brazil side is... I don't know how they don't.
Look at the size of their country.
How don't they win everything? How doesn't this team win everything there is to win? Rafinha's going for the Ballon d'Or this year. Vinicius is Vinicius. Gabriel, one of the best central defenders in the Premier League. Marquinhos, the best, in my opinion, central defender in Liga, the French league. Like Alisson, one of the best goalkeepers in the world. This team is loaded.
I'm giving you maybe not a very good take because you're going to get mad. Honestly, yes, they might have some good players, maybe 1, 2, or 4 players.
Your boy Rodrigo, you love Rodrigo.
4 or 5 players that are very good. That's cool. That's perfect. But this is a very normal Brazilian team. This is whatever.
Many would argue this is on the lower.
All right.
End
Actually,
of
can I go back what I said? I'll have Matthias Cunha. I'll take Cunha. He didn't even play. Actually, he came on. Sorry, my headphones are falling off. Getting so excited. He came on in the 60th minute. I'll just take Cunha. That's fine.
You know what?
I'll give him Josh Sargent. Does it work that way?
You know what?
I'll give him Josh Sargent.
Okay, I'm giving you this. You can have all the names you want: Rodrigo, Vinicius, Rafinha, Gabriel, Alisson, whatever, whoever you want. But if none of those players plays and act the way they need to act on those big matches, what does it matter if you have those names? You know what I mean?
At the same time, I agree. I agree to a certain extent. I just think it's unfair to compare them to the other Brazilian teams because we're looking at a Brazilian team that's still kind of evolving. Vinicius, 24 years old. Rodrigo, 24 years old. João Pedro, 23.
I mean, realistically, 2-3 more World Cups.
It's a very young team, and I think they can get there. They haven't gotten there, and there's been a lot of criticism.
And Dino, to your point, the criticism, Ronaldinho, what was the story in Copa America? Yeah. That he didn't get tickets and he didn't want to see the team. He was calling out. There was a
narrative that there was no identity with this Brazil. It lost its identity.
But again, to your point, you might talk age. Remember what Neymar was doing in that Brazilian team when he was 23,
That's
22.
why I agree to a certain extent.
You see? So
because we saw Brazilians kind of overcome that.
So my point is you have Vinicius, 24, plays for Real Madrid, 2 Champions League, one of the world stars. But when you play with your team, you don't do nothing. This is one of the few games I've seen Vinicius do something for Brazil, So
no Vinicius slander today. He won the game.
No, and honestly,
Vinicius slander
if
today.
we're going to slander, we're kind of letting Colombia get a pass here.
Sure.
Yeah.
Colombia I know a lot of Colombians. I have a lot of Colombian friends. I'm very in touch with the Colombian community. But, man, that national team is stale. It's a stale national team at the moment. In the last 5 games, 4 losses. They're close to that in CONMEBOL, we call it the repechaje, which is the knockout playing game.
Yeah.
And we're talking about a team
on that line, huh?
who made the finals of Copa America. I think Colombia was in a position where it was their time to win. They kind of fumbled that. And now they're in a position where Duran, who we thought was going to be that next big Colombian star, he went to Saudi Arabia.
Yep.
He didn't even start last night.
But they're pretty comfortable in the 6th position. I think 6 points over Bolivia, so they're very comfortable right now. Let's be honest.
They'll be all right.
They've lost
They'll be
to
all right.
Brazil.
To your point, though, Damien,
Uruguay.
they're going through kind of what Team USA is, right? Kind of now they've had more success than Team USA, but kind of
they
a
really
moment.
haven't. Colombia. You would think Colombia has success.
They did a lot better in Copa.
Damien loves to slander Colombia.
One Copa America.
They did a lot, but still, they did very well in Copa. If I would trade that as a Team USA fan.
No, I get it.
I would trade everything we've ever done in the history of the federation that do what they did in Copa America.
And at the end of the day, they're competing against other South American teams, which is a completely different level.
But Luis Diaz getting in last night. James Rodriguez with the assist last night too. 2-1, big victory for Brazil in that World Cup qualification round of 13. Boys, let's do the pitch preview because we're running out of time here. We have Ecuador and Venezuela coming up, and Argentina and Uruguay. Let's start with Damien, Elias. I'll let you talk about Venezuela and Ecuador. Damien, no Lionel Messi, no Lautaro Martinez for the Argentinian side. You both mentioned that they're really fine with points. They don't need the game. What should we expect in this match? How important is it for Uruguay? What are you looking for in this matchup? Being help me, Uruguayan.
Yes, I'll throw away the table, throw away everything. This is Uruguay versus Argentina. This is a huge rivalry, and I understand Messi's not playing, Lautaro's not playing, but that game is still going to be played very high intense.
Yeah.
Uruguay's third right now. They entered this.
They need to win.
They were second before Brazil won last night, but they're third. A win would help, but they really, like I said, it would take catastrophe for them to get knocked out of the World Cup.
Yeah.
Argentina's basically in, but like I said, this is still going to be. This is a big rivalry, Argentina-Uruguay. The last time Uruguay and Argentina played was in Argentina, and Uruguay won. So I'm sure Argentina is going to want to get back here in Uruguay.
Yeah.
And then Elias, Ecuador, and Venezuela. You mentioned that Venezuela's never been to a World Cup.
Yeah.
This is a pretty big fixture for them coming
It's a
up.
pretty big one. Venezuela hasn't won a game in the qualifiers since probably 2 years already. I don't see it very. I don't have a
Bolivia
very.
lost. This is a huge game. He's underplaying
a huge game. You know what happens? Like all the results Venezuela need to get, like from the other teams, he gets them, but they don't win. Venezuela doesn't like take advantage of that.
Right.
So honestly, today I don't see Venezuela winning, even though it hurts me to say, but I don't see them winning. They're gonna go against Ecuador in Quito.
Do you think we see Telasco Segovia play for Venezuela?
100%. Yeah, he's gonna play. He's gonna play.
And by the way, Telasco Segovia obviously attacking mid for the Inter Miami
no.
Herons.
He's gonna play 100%. The thing is, like, I don't see them winning. There's no clear idea. Damon can help me with this one. Like Venezuela, they started the qualifications like very well, playing well, attacking football. Now they're just stale defensively again.
Venezuela,
bad habits again.
Unfortunately, they lost a very big game against Chile in the last fixture of the CONMEBOL, and that was kind of like a very hard hit to them. They're 1 point away from being in that 7th position, which puts you in that knockout round. And they are, if they do get the 3 points, they would be 4 points away from direct qualification.
Wow.
So this is a huge game for Venezuela.
Come on, Elias, let's
it's
go.
A tough
I need
game,
you.
though. It's a
thing-
very
the
tough
thing
game.
now-
Ecuador's they got quality.
Yeah, now the thing is
And
like
it's in Ecuador.
They got quality.
The thing now is like it helps. Like if we lose today, for example, then we go on Tuesday we play against Peru in Venezuela. That's 3 points.
You win that game.
You need to win that game. If you win that game, even though you lose this one, you might still have a chance. Taking in account that Bolivia is going to play against Uruguay in Bolivia, and that's a tough game. I see, for example, that game, I see like either Bolivia is going to win or it's going to be a tie.
And Colombia plays Paraguay, which is absolutely scorching
100%.
right now.
And then Chile is going to play against Ecuador in Chile, and everyone is expecting Chile to lose. So, again, even though if Venezuela loses today, they might still have a little chance of staying the fight again on Tuesday. Again, it's tough, man. It's one of the, I think it's the...
But if you win today and against Peru on Tuesday,
yes,
I mean, that's
yes,
huge
but again,
for Venezuela.
these qualifiers
Huge.
are the hardest ones in the world.
I mean, huge implications. It's
Yeah.
it's a World Cup bid on the line in the end of the day,
100%.
and it's your country. Elias, for your sake, I hope Venezuela can pull it out.
For my
partner.
sake, too.
For your sake, I hope they
Yeah.
can pull it out.
You know
And
what's worse?
Damien, how about this? For your sake, I hope Uruguay can beat Argentina because my team was apparently the American side was too worried about who is in the stands and March Madness.
You know what's worse? I can see the game today.
Boys, please give me, before we wrap up here, by the way, episode number 2, West Palm FC on ESPN West Palm Play. I've had an absolute blast here. It's our international break-esque show. Brazil winners in their matchup over Colombia. Team USA, my beloved Team USA, losers to Panama. Are we ever going to beat Panama? I don't think we're ever going to beat Panama. Is this Pochettino's retirement fund? We went through Messi injury, not playing with Argentina. Baltasar Rodriguez in for Inter Miami. Alan Abondo in on a loan for Inter Miami from Atletico Madrid. It's been an action-packed episode. Boys, give me some give me some words of encouragement for Team USA, if there are any.
I mean, he's going to be fine. Don't worry about it.
Oh, yeah, we're already qualified, right?
This can be the punch that
we're already
humbles.
qualified, but we're qualified because we're the host nation.
I'm giving you 3 good news. One, you're going to beat Canada. Second
Are
of
you
all,
sure we lost to Panama?
No. You're gonna be fine because this is gonna be like a wake up call.
Yes,
Second of all, you're already on the World Cup, and third and the last point, United is not playing, man. So you're gonna have a nice weekend.
All right. Yeah, we had to throw United in there. Hang on, they're hot. My Red Devils are hot.
I think USA has. You need to put your trust in Pochettino.
Yeah.
This
It's
loss.
not his retirement fund for his
I
house in
don't
Malibu.
think so. I think
Okay.
this loss
All right,
can
good.
kind of work in their favor in the sense that, like Elias said, it'll kind of
Well,
humble them.
Elias, can we move him to the States? Can he leave Spain? Can we get him a house in Miami? Can we figure something out?
You don't need your coach to be in the same country.
Okay, well, I disagree. That is episode number 2 of West Palm FC. Appreciate everyone who watched and listened. Give us a subscription on our ESPN West Palm Play, folks. Turn those notifications on. You'll get it every single time that we post. Everyone have a great weekend. We'll catch up with you next week.